What's poppin', y'all? It's Kabaddi Kina here, back with another video to talk about the Patna Pirates, my team. Patna Pirates, I think I can officially dub as my favorite team, simply kind of because of the green and yellow color scheme. If you've watched any of my past videos, particularly the one where I break down or kind of rank the team logos, I seem to have an affinity for teams that carry the color scheme of green and yellow. My favorite team from the NFL, which if any of you are familiar with National Football League here in America, my favorite team is the Green Bay Packers, green and yellow. Major League Baseball, one of my favorite teams, Oakland Athletics, green and yellow. I don't know what it is about that color scheme, but it gets me every time. Seems like they were the first team that I actually watched a Kabaddi match of. So I don't know what it is, but Patna Pirates kind of introduced me to the sport actually, so seeing as they're the first team that I actually watched a match of, combined with their color scheme of green and yellow, I root for them. I do. I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon. I didn't even know, again, coming into it, that they were like the most successful team in the league. I had no idea that they had won 3 championships. So nonetheless, I had to eat crow last season with my take for them. So I'm not going to do that again. I can't doubt the most successful team in the franchise and what they're doing. I just can't. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to take that risk. They let go of the number 1 Raider from last season in Devank, who came out of nowhere with over 300 points, 301 points, kind of crazy. But Patna's kind of known for their rating prowess. Like, I think sort of the opposite of Umumba from my last video where I said Umumba is kind of historically known for their defense. I think the opposite is true for the Patna Pirates, where I think historically they're known for their rating. And no small part to Pardeep Narwal, who played 3 seasons with them and is a big reason why they won 3 championships. So rating seems to be their sort of bread and butter. They seem to be able to cultivate raiders left and right out of nowhere, just create stars. And that's what they did last year with Devank and Ian Lochab. They let go of their number 1 Raider, but they did retain Ian Lochab, who was no slouch himself again. Great job. I think he finished top 10, I believe. Yeah, no, he was a number 5 Raider last season. 184 points. Nothing to scoff at. If he can repeat that, I know people are wondering if he's a one-hit wonder. He won the award for new young player of the year, right? Hopefully he can repeat that. I know they're going to obviously heavily lean on him because they don't have Devank anymore. They did bring in Maninder Singh, who had previously been with the Bengal Warriors for years and was kind of the face of that franchise, but they let him go. I can't blame them because last few seasons seems like Maninder he's kind of losing steam, similar to Pardeep Narwal. So he's definitely on his last leg, I feel like. I think this very well could be his last season, but hopefully he can sort of find that last bit of youth and just, really bring what the Patna Pirates, I'm sure, are looking for out of him, which is just a solid number 2 Raider for them and someone that can also probably lead and mentor some of these younger Raiders that they have on the squad. Now, one Raider that they have who is one of my favorite players in the entire league, but last year found himself on the bench a lot, which was surprising coming off the season 10 that he had, which he was amazing and was a lot of fun to watch. So to see what happened to him last season was kind of baffling, but you couldn't really blame them for sitting him, seeing what Devank and Ian did. But Sadaka M, I love this guy. I think he's quick, he's agile. I think he's got a lot to offer, not only for the Patna Pirates, but just for the league. I think he's like a firecracker, like he's a lightning rod, like he's so much fun to watch. I don't know what was going on last season with him, but clearly with Devank gone, they're going to need him this season. Like there's no way around it, unless there's somebody else that they have on the squad that's going to surprise us and come out of nowhere. But I think they're going to lean on Sadaka more than they did last season, and they're going to need him to be that number 3 Raider. And honestly, I think he's more likely to become the number 2 Raider behind Ian, because I don't know how well Maninder's going to hold up throughout the season. I think in all likelihood Sadaka is going to be that number 2 Raider for them. Hopefully. That is my hope, at least, because again, I like this guy a lot and I just have high hopes for him at all times. Now, one thing that did surprise me about the Patna Pirates was their defense last season. To me, their defense was actually a huge part in their success. Defense is always going to be a huge part in any team's success. But again, Patna Pirates being known more so for their rating, I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was actually their defense that I felt was standing out so much last season. And And Ankit Joglan was a big reason for that. I mean, they went out and retained him for 1.5 crore. Smart move on their part, because for the longest time last season, he actually looked like he was going to win and take the top spot for most tackle points. Now, he lost out to Shadlu like last minute by, he fell just 3 points shy, but he finished as number 2 defenseman with 79 tackle points. So great person to retain and hold down your defense. Great job bringing him back. And then they also, I guess, created history within the auction in the past auction here, as they use the FBM 2-year option on Deepak Singh, who they got him for 86 lakhs. So to be able to retain him for 2 years at that price, that could be a steal, to be honest, because Deepak finished as the number 10 defenseman last year with 64 tackle points. So to have 2 top 10 defenders on your team, massive. I think that's going to be crucial for them this season, especially seeing as I think their offense is going to take a bit of a step back. How can you not when you're losing 300 points? You know what I mean? It's highly unlikely that anyone's going to be able to replicate that. So you have to expect a little bit of a regression in your offensive category. So you're going to need your defense to sort of maintain what they did last year if you're going to try and get back to the same place that you were last year. And I think they've done a good job with that. Ankit is like insanely good. Hopefully he can keep that up this season with them. And hopefully Deepak can even sort of step his game up and become like a top 5 defender. You never know. But I think they're a very solid team overall. Again, I think their rating is a little bit to be questioned, because you got one person who's only done it for 1 year. So can he do it again? And Ian Lochab, you got an aging Raider and Maninder Singh. Can he find a bit of a fountain of youth? And then you got Sadaka M, who had one great season, basically sat the next season. So this third season, what are we going to get from him? So I think you got a lot of question marks in their rating department. The defensive department, I think, is where you have the most confidence going into the season. So I'm excited to see what they do. Again, one of my favorite teams. I always root for them, even though last season I didn't expect much. That doesn't mean I wasn't rooting for them, but I'm interested to see how they do this season. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will catch y'all next time.